to share with us his spiritual journey. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Right now we are in the car, as you can see, and we are driving up to Batu Gajah near Ipoh, to a place that I think many of us would have heard of, Kellie's Castle. So before we get there, before we talk about Kellie's Castle, let's get to know Mr. Ishtar a little bit more. You had explained to me that you are an energy worker.
Yeah.
Can you explain a bit more, what do you mean by energy worker and how does your body relate to that work?
The body, the human nervous system, contain the information in order to be able to balance
Correct.
energies that are all of balance.
Okay.
So what happened to me is I became able to physically feel energies. And sometimes when this energy gets to you in a way that is more negative, this would be the reason why some people would develop sickness or accidents in their life, like create imbalance in their nervous system.
I noticed on your hands that there are some like rashes. How did this all come about?
Okay, this started a few weeks ago. It's not the first time I experienced things like that. Like here, okay, it's the first time, but different part of my body, sometimes I would have things like that when I get to balance some extreme.
When the balancing of energies is taking place in your body, you get side effects like this?
Sometimes, depending on the extremity of the mission.
Did it get worse after we called or something?
Yeah.
Okay.
Especially yesterday and today, it's quite intense.
So your body has actually been preparing for today's mission.
Yeah.
It seems to be appearing in the areas where you have tattoos.
That's my first tattoo I've ever had. It represents the unit I was in.
So does it kind of make sense that actually the rashes you're having is surrounding this tattoo that's reflecting you?
That will reflect me absorbing a lot of angry or oppressed energy. One reality is the left side is the receiving side and the right side is the giving side.
Okay. And then I notice it's less on the right hand. Is it because it's been processed?
It processed inside.
Is that the right word to use, process? I'm sure there's a more polite word.
Transcend.
Transcend. Okay, so it's not process, my apologies. It's transcend. Okay, so the energy comes in through the left, transcends through the middle, or through the...
Through the direct experience. It comes out on the right from the right side.
So how do you, as an energy healer, use your body? Like, how does processing take place? I know I make you sound like a computer, but how does it work?
We receive energy in many forms. We receive energy from the earth through our feet. We receive energy from the universe, mostly through the crown, the top of the head. And we also have mass consciousness. Mass consciousness, which is the business of the mind at all times. Like people think they are their thoughts, but thoughts that comes to our mind comes from a big grid of many thoughts, which is human
Another
consciousness.
greater existence.
Exactly. So it's sort of like the life force that we experience is always being challenged by fear of death, sickness, contraction, suppression, oppression.
And sometimes that fear will therefore lead us to do things that's kind of against nature.
Exactly. Against the natural will.
Correct.
Of the father and mother energy. So by allowing these two energy, if one can focus more on that instead of focusing onto the jumble of the mind,
Okay.
then what it is that happen, one have the power to transcend all that negativity into something that is more expanding. And this is what life is about, is to liberate ourselves from oppression.
Correct.
And there's a lot of oppressed energy also within the earth that get in the way of the pure energy of the earth. And I think right now, today, this is what it is that we are to deal with.
Okay, so therefore, the Paranormal Zone contacted you. When they met you, you had mentioned that you had a dream, and then they brought up the subject matter and described Kellie's Castle, and some connection took place for you.
Yeah, a few weeks back, I had a dream.
Okay.
And in that dream, I saw myself in a place that looked like a castle. What I was doing my work, which is balancing the energy to the martial arts. There was a few entities, but the focus was not on that. The focus was, there was a room blocked with bars. And inside the room with the bars, there was a dragon. The dragon was made of metal, it was alive, and it had wings. So for me, my interpretation of the dream would be, the dragon would be some suppressed energy, like very extreme life force energy that is suppressed. And because of the wings of the dragon, it would come from the west. So it's an energy, a primal energy from the earth that goes across.
So before the Paranormal Zone contacted you and had the first meeting, you had no idea about Kellie's Castle?
I had no ideas about it. But one thing is, within the last few months, maybe last 2 months, the idea of going back to Ipoh was starting to come. Like I would have like something telling me maybe I should go back to Ipoh, maybe I should go back to Ipoh.
And you were in Ipoh before when? How long ago?
The last time I was there was 4 years ago.
And recently, in the last 2 months, you have been having a feeling to go back.
Something to go
wow.
back.
I mean, you want to talk about affinity? It's amazing. This is amazing. I think there is a connection here, even as we are talking and going up to Kellie's Castle.
It's not much about Kellie's Castle. It's about the timing. That energy must be released, and somehow the way
things are falling into place.
Things are working, it gives us something so the logical mind can have something to play with. Well, as we are driving to Kellie's Castle, I would like to tell you the history of Kellie's Castle. Kellie's Castle was built in 1909 by Mr. William Kellie Smith, who was a planter from Scotland who made his wealth in Malaya. In 1915, his son Anthony was born. To celebrate the birth of Anthony, Mr. Smith decided to expand the luxury of his already huge mansion. In the 1920s, there was a very bad Spanish flu which killed many of the workers. Additional 70 workers were brought in and they died as well, and they fell victims of the flu. The expansion of the castle was never completed at the point when Mr. Smith died in 1926 of pneumonia. It is rumored here that the spirit of Mr. Smith is still seen roaming around the corridors at Kellie's Castle. In addition to that, there has also been sightings of his spirit. Kellie's Castle, renowned even till today to be one of the most haunted places in Malaysia. It sounds as though today our mission is not about ghost hunting or ghost busting or even to prove whether they are there or not, but to actually release and free some suppressed energies. Yes, we have arrived at Kellie's Castle. Upon arriving, Ishtar and I walked around. And we came to this courtyard. And suddenly, it has begun. Ishtar has sensed the energy in this place. In his hand, while we were walking up, he was holding a handful of tobacco. I asked him what it was for, and the tobacco was for him to offer to the earth for the exchange of energy. And now, Ishtar has begun the process of exchanging of energies. Ishtar uses the technique of martial arts in his method to transcend the energies. Remember that he receives with the left, transcends and releases with the right. Ishtar can feel that there's a lot of sadness in this room. It looks like a room, and it is part of the original part of the mansion where the family lived and not where the extension took place. We are now standing in the original part of the mansion. And there is a lot of sadness in this space. Earlier in the car on the way here, I was talking to Ishtar, and he told me that when the energies start to come,
they can be very angry, they can be very forceful. And the more angry or stronger the energy that comes to him, the more he starts to feel invincible, because I guess it would be his way of matching the energy, because it is not through equal means of anger, but a form of being strong enough to tame the energy, which is why if you watch Ishtar's hand gestures, they are not wrathful or angersome, but very smooth. It's like as though he is dancing with the energy. Right now, we are walking from the main mansion courtyard earlier down to where the guardhouse and horse stable used to be. We're right now inside the horse stable. The movements Ishtar has been doing is slightly, in my opinion or observation, a little bit more, how should I say, not aggressive, but a little bit more firm in his actions. I'm not sure, maybe perhaps that the energy in this room is a little bit stronger.
Trapped in here. Something's trapped in here.
Something's trapped in here? I'm not too sure what's exactly happening here, because he's not saying anything anymore, but I was told that it would be very spontaneous, and that's exactly what happened. We didn't have much time to talk while we were walking up the stairs, up to where the mansion is, and then suddenly Ishtar just could feel the energies. And like we said earlier, we're not here to prove that there are spirits, ghosts, or other beings, but we're here to transcend the energies, rebalance, and maybe release them peacefully. So we'll find out more when I get to sit down and speak with Ishtar later about what he experienced and what was going on. So for now, let's just observe.
Feel a lot of resistance here.
A lot of resistance. Can you tell whether the energy is male, female? Does it have that?
Resistance like that must be female. I feel two hands pressing my hands.
Two hands pressing your hands right now.
That's how it feels.
Do you experience anger? Sadness?
No. I don't know how to explain. I can explain the emotion with it.
It's not bringing emotions with it.
No, it's very neutral. Okay, I think I know what it is. I think it's like an energy that would guide me. It's friendly.
It's friendly?
Yeah. But when we pass the test, sort of like, it's about time. Yeah, it's more willing now.
It's more willing?
More willing, yeah. More cooperative.
Is it guiding you right now?
Yeah.
Is it the same energy from the beginning? Or have they changed and they're different?
It's different. I think the other energies was kind of like a test.
For the sincerity for being here.
Yeah. Whatever it is that needs to be released is of great value, but it has to be released from a place where no one tried to manipulate it.
Right. The spirit needs to feel safe to be released.
Yeah. That's what I'm getting.
inside.
Trapped?
I don't know. That's why the guy brings me. That's okay. If there's something behind, I can pull it out.
When we were downstairs and trying to open that door, Ishtar was trying to receive the energy, and he did. So he was guiding it. It's coming through.
Yeah.
And when we were coming to find the way up, in order to get behind that door, Ishtar told me that he could feel the energy holding his hand. In a guiding way or in a fierce way?
Yeah, it's holding. He's right here.
He's holding your hand.
Yeah.
It has released.
I think it is, yeah.
How do you feel? It must be physically draining, because there was many times as we went along, you had a lot of perspiration. There was one time you said that there was one particular room that you experienced a lot of sadness.
Yeah. It drains, but it energizes also at the same time.
Yes.
And that's what it is. Like most people that will encounter these things, the way they react would maybe oppress it even more. The idea is to accept it, experience it, and release it.
Right.
Like it has to be a very, very, very gentle approach. And from that place, anyone that get to encounter any kind of energy like that, they come out clear. It's not the energy that will harm them, it's the way they react to it.
Once again goes with what I always believe in the motivation in which people do anything. If your motivation is pure and sincere, you will react in the open, sincere and pure way. I do have some questions because I was observing you and I noticed that sometimes the actions are a little bit more masculine, as in more actions, and then sometimes it seems to be like a dance.
Yin and yang, someplace the energy is more suppressed. So the yang energy kind of like overtake the yin energy to release the yang energy, and it would express itself more like a kung fu-like movement.
Yes, correct.
When the yin energy is overcoming the yang energy, the movement would be more like Tai Chi.
There were times when I thought you were picking up something because your receiving hand and your releasing hand kind of got together into like a formation, and then you put it together.
Like it's still working with the energy. What it is that it was probably taking away a layer, like something from a different reality that is existing there, that is not needed for the greater plan. So it's just to dissolve it, bring it back to pure energy.
I felt really happy that the Paranormal Zone had brought Ishtar here, because I felt that something needed to be done here when I arrived, you know. I mean, I normally have, you know, I have no foresight, nothing, but I always just trust whatever comes to me. Ishtar was doing with the energies here in this mansion was soothing. So I hope you enjoyed this episode. Earlier today when we were driving here to Kellie's castle, we were observing very much Ishtar's hands. And as we were driving here and getting closer, we could see his hand, especially his left hand, started to kind of swell and look tight, and the rashes were very red. But as work was being done here at Kellie's castle, I could see very clearly that the swelling is subsiding, the rashes are starting to heal. So I guess this is a sign that the work was done and we achieved what we wanted to achieve, and Ishtar released what his dream asked him to come and release. Do you think that's a good conclusion?
Well, we gotta live our dreams.
We gotta live our dreams, yes. It has been a pleasure having Ishtar with us on this episode. Like I always say, what you see may not be real, and what is real